Ladies and gentlemen, Frank and I have returned. Frank, you having fun?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, WrestleMania 25. I could say a lot about this WrestleMania because I would have booked it completely different from the way they booked it. The Money in the Bank ladder match, much like the year before CM Punk won, I would have had Christian win the Money in the Bank ladder match. I would have had Edge retain the World Heavyweight title in his triple threat match with John Cena and the Big Show and have Christian cash in on him right there to start an Edge-Christian feud for the title. Because the only reason John Cena was in that match was because he was originally supposed to fight Hulk Hogan, but Hogan had a botched back surgery and it couldn't happen. Did you hear about that rumor?
No, I heard the same thing.
Yeah. But CM Punk won the Money in the Bank. John Cena won the World Heavyweight Championship in the triple threat match.
You had Chris Jericho against the Legends.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed that because of the entire, Jericho Steamboat encounter in that match. I mean, Steamboat proved he could still go. The guy was... There are very few Ricky Steamboats in the wrestling business. I hope his son continues to wrestle, and I hope he eventually gets called up to WWE, because if he's even half of what his father was, he's going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
We also had Matt Hardy and Edge in an Extreme Rules street fight, which I think was really good. I really enjoyed that match. We also had Randy Orton and Triple H in a subpar main event, which I do not understand why they had it to where if Triple H got disqualified, he lost the title. It should have been a fight, a street fight, because of the things that Orton had done to Triple H's family, but they limited it, and it was poor booking. The only gem on that show was the Undertaker-Shawn Michaels first WrestleMania encounter.
Possibly one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time.
Not only, in my opinion, the greatest WrestleMania match, but the greatest match of all time. No match from bell to bell was better than the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. I would love to debate that point on the page. That is the greatest match of all time.
Yeah, it's when you have that match, and you almost go into another world, and it seems like it's a real fight. And
did you see the people in the front row? The people in the front row were going nuts.
Yeah. It was just, it kept how the build up to the match kept going.
Oh, the build up was amazing, but the match itself was an emotional roller coaster. It was just unbelievable, and the finish to the match where Shawn went for the moonsault and Taker caught him and tombstoned him. That was an amazing finish. And after all that time, that was the first time the Undertaker ever beat Shawn Michaels.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Taker's never beat him before that. The first match they had at Ground Zero in '97, it was a draw. Hell in a Cell, Shawn won because of Kane. And the casket match where Taker broke Shawn's back, Shawn won the match because of Kane. So right. Taker had never beat Shawn Michaels before that. WrestleMania 26, another WrestleMania that I felt was subpar. I didn't really think it was that great. The notable matches, John Cena defeated Batista for the WWE Championship, one of many times that John Cena's won the title at WrestleMania. Chris Jericho retained, surprisingly, against Edge, which I would have expected Edge to win that match. I never understood the reasoning behind that.
Maybe Edge was starting to have problems with his neck. We don't know. Well, maybe it was just to give Jericho, another WrestleMania moment.
No, it's possible. And then, of course, we had the Streak versus the Career match, which was another emotional roller coaster. The Undertaker retired Shawn Michaels that night. And
I think this was by far it stole the show again, and I think this match sold WrestleMania on its own.
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody cared about any other match except for this match.
Absolutely. We had WrestleMania 27 in Atlanta. Another WrestleMania that I felt was very subpar. I didn't care much for it. I felt that The Rock took up way too much time at the beginning. I understand that he was the celebrity being brought in to host the show, but I felt that he took up too much at the beginning. Daniel Bryan and Sheamus didn't get to have their match that night for the United States Championship, which I thought was bad.
Yeah, that was built up for the next WrestleMania.
Absolutely, but I felt they paid a little too much attention to that, and they didn't spend enough attention on the rest of the card.
Plus, we had the infamous Miz winning the belt against John Cena.
The Miz retained the title thanks to The Rock. I felt that match was absolutely ridiculous. I couldn't stand it from start to finish. The Miz, to me, never deserved to be the WWE champion. To me, he's not a main event, what I would call a main event level performer. You know, even as a heel, he doesn't connect with the audience to where they want to see him get killed. He has go away heat, not hate heat, to where they want to see him get beat up. I'm sorry, how the Miz got that title match with John Cena at WrestleMania over CM Punk is beyond me. I don't.
You sell a few T-shirts. You come up with a catchphrase. You know, and
but that's not what makes you a great heel.
I know.
But the Miz, as far as I'm concerned, with all due respect to Mike Mizanin, did not deserve to close WrestleMania with a win.
No,
Didn't deserve it in the least. CM Punk faced Randy Orton that night and was defeated. Poor usage of CM Punk. It's a shame. And then people wonder why he walked out. The Undertaker and Triple H had a match which, I really don't care that much for. The match wasn't that great. It was basically just the usage of weapons. It was the usage of Triple H trying to abuse The Undertaker to the point where he had to, destroy him in order to win. Taker managed to get the win, but had to get carried out later on. That led up to next year's WrestleMania, which we will now get into. WrestleMania 28. There was no reason for John Cena and The Rock to close WrestleMania. I had no problem with the match. I did not mind them having the match, but there was no reason for them to close the show.
Yeah, well, when you spend the whole year promoting the match,
I understand that, but it also puts the WWE Championship in a bottom level. It's like LT all over again.
Yeah.
I felt that it was unnecessary. I didn't feel that they would draw, and this has been my argument from the start. I do not feel that The Rock would have drawn one dime less if he was in the mid-card. He wouldn't have. Until someone could prove to me that he would have drawn less by being in the match before the title match, nobody could prove to me that it would have been a bad thing. Now, granted, I do not think that CM Punk versus Chris Jericho would have been a strong enough main event, but nevertheless...
If you remember, this was the era where WWE really didn't have that many new stars, so they had to keep relying on the old hands,
But that's their own mistakes. That's their inability of being able to, tap into new talent. You had the World Heavyweight Championship that night, WrestleMania 28.
That was the infamous 18 seconds of doom. The kiss of death.
I mean, to see where they put Daniel Bryan that night to where he is now, it's a good feeling as a Daniel Bryan fan, because they completely jobbed him out with that one, expecting him to just fade into mediocrity, but the fans didn't allow it. And I believe that is where the Yes Movement began.
Yeah, that put him over. Everybody went crazy when on the next night when he dumped AJ.
And the fact of the matter is, they tried. I don't care what anyone says on the page. They tried to bury Daniel Bryan, but the crowd didn't let it happen. Why they tried to bury him, I don't understand. He's a great talent. He's a good person. I don't know what they gain from doing that to their talent, but whatever, it is what it is. He beat it. God bless him. I hope he wins the title next weekend, otherwise I'm going to be pissed off. The Undertaker and Triple H, with Shawn Michaels as the referee, inside Hell in a Cell. My God, that is what a Hell in a Cell match is supposed to be.
Yeah, and you had HBK as the referee, and the story was you didn't know whether he was going to help Triple H or...
Call the match down the middle.
Yeah.
The match was unbelievable from start to finish. And the right guy won.
Yeah, well, at that point now, The Undertaker, we all know that the streak was never going to end.
Well, it should never end. If it didn't end with a young guy, why would it end with someone that's already established?
Right.
The
How about the end to that match when all three guys took a bow on the entrance ramp? That was pretty good.
No, absolutely. And then, of course, we had Jericho versus CM Punk, which I thought was a good match. Jericho did what a former talent is supposed to do. He put over the young lion. He put over the younger talent, which is something that, I never understood why, again, when CM Punk, and I don't want to turn this into a Punk rant, why when Punk fought all the big names, Triple H, The Rock, The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, it was never in the cards for Punk to win. I don't understand. And then everyone wonders, and everyone likes to take shots that CM Punk walked out. You can't blame the guy when he's breaking his ass all year long, and then these guys come in here and there, and he loses to them. So you have to remember, for a man like Punk, wins and losses mean something. To most people on the page, wins and losses don't mean shit. But to the wrestlers, wins and losses mean something. And obviously to Punk, it meant a lot. Do you feel that contributed?
Yeah, he's another example that's how WWE tries to bury him at an opportune time,
No. That was WrestleMania 28. WrestleMania 29, I was there for. We were all there for. Go ahead. The Undertaker and CM Punk stole the show. Unbelievable match. It was great from start to finish, but if Paul Bear didn't pass away, I do not know what they would have had, as a storyline for them.
Yeah, that was a great angle.
It was a great angle. And Punk was just the ultimate heel. Perfect. Triple H and Brock Lesnar. Triple H got his win over Brock Lesnar after losing at SummerSlam. And then, of course, we have... I'm not even going to mention the World Heavyweight title match because that match was insignificant and it was horrible. Del Rio and Jack Swagger were the two biggest excuses for a world champion. It was horrendous. And then we have The Rock versus John Cena 2, which I felt was completely fucking unnecessary. I don't care how much money they made off that match. The match was unnecessary, and it didn't need to happen.
Yeah, and then The Rock got hurt. It took away from the whole match. It was just a dud.
See, but that was my problem with The Rock from the beginning. He didn't put over anyone that needed the push, because a guy like Punk could have used that victory over The Rock and rode that wave for months. But instead, The Rock jobbed to John Cena, who's already a Hall of Famer. Let's be honest. John Cena's going to go in the Hall of Fame, and he was going to go in the Hall of Fame before that match happened. Did John Cena really...
I think Punk should have beat The Rock and regained his belt.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. And the Undertaker should have just stayed home. 20-0. Leave it at that. I don't understand why they did that to him. It makes no sense.
Maybe we should have The Undertaker versus John Cena at WrestleMania.
Why not? That would have sold a lot of pay-per-views. And you could have had The Rock lose the title to someone and go back to Hollywood where he belongs. That was WrestleMania 29. And now we're getting into WrestleMania 30, Frank. We're 7 days away and counting. Actually, now it's 6.
6. All right, next week, WrestleMania 30 will be over.
Yeah. By this time, next week, WrestleMania 30 will be done. The first match I have on the card is the Divas Invitational. I don't see AJ Lee losing. Do you?
Possibly. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Unless if Paige is in the match, I could see her winning. The Andre the Giant in Battle Royal, I can't pick a winner in this, but I will tell you, if Alexander Rusev is in that match, he will win.
I think in this match, expect anybody and everybody to show up, and the rumor is maybe Big Show might win the match. But
I would personally like for Big Show to win because, of how many years of service he's put into the business. I wouldn't mind it, But if you want to launch somebody, Alexander Rusev is the guy.
Yeah, and this could be a yearly thing to WrestleMania when they have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I think it's a great idea. You get everybody involved.
Oh, absolutely. But I also feel that it's wasting a couple of good talents. You know, Cody Rhodes and Goldust don't belong in that match, and neither does Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, but you know, they have to get these people in somehow, some way. So
See, I would have put Cody Rhodes and Goldust in this next match that I have on the list. Hold on a second, Frank. Go ahead because we're good. We're good. Go ahead. Sorry about that. We have the tag title match. The Usos defending the titles against the Real Americans, Rybacksel, and the Matadors. I mean, my God. Why? The Matadors weren't on television for weeks. Now all of a sudden they're in the tag title match?
it's a film match, and we get to see El Torito at Wrestlemania, and everybody else came all way. That's the WWE.
And Rybacksel? Come on now.
It's a filler match. It's a filler match.
I think it's a bad break for the Usos because you want to know something? Them winning the tag titles was a big deal. See, originally, I was all for them losing at Elimination Chamber because I figured, okay, they'll win the titles at WrestleMania and it'll mean something. The only reason they had the Usos win in Chicago was to try to send the fans home happy because they were worried about the fans hijacking the show. I also feel it's a big waste of Cesaro because the guy don't belong in no tag team match at WrestleMania 30. I mean, in person, I would like to also see him win the Battle Royal and get some love.
Yeah.
Next, we also got the Shield against Kane and the New Age Outlaws. I feel that it's a poor usage of the Shield, but the Shield has had a good match every time they've had a six-man tag, so I'm not going to complain about it.
I think that look out for this match. I think this match might be very interesting. You know, you have the old.
Oh, it's going to be interesting, no doubt, because the Shield is involved, and the Shield is they're now good guys. They're with the fans. Yeah. I think that, listen, anytime the Shield has a six-man tag, it's good. I believe firmly that the six-man tag they had with the Wyatts at Elimination Chamber was the best six-man tag match of all time. Yes, I'm going there. If you haven't seen that match, Frank, I urge you to watch it on the network. It's worth going out of your way to see.
And also, what we should note is that maybe the Shield might have a hand in who wins the main event.
We'll get into that in a couple of minutes because we're going to go down the card. Next, we have Bray Wyatt against John Cena. Bear in mind, this is John Cena's first WrestleMania that he's not in the main event or in the title picture. It's a
John Cena's running scared. He's seen things.
It's a welcomed change that he is not in the main event or in the title match. It's a welcomed change for me.
We might see Bray Wyatt get over on him.
He should. There is no reason for Bray Wyatt to lose this match. John Cena doesn't need to add another guy to the list. You know, what does John Cena gain from winning? Nothing. What does Bray Wyatt gain? Notoriety.
That's right.
Next, we have the match, one of the three matches that I am looking most forward to, and that's Daniel Bryan against Triple H. You could say that the match was building from SummerSlam, but let's be honest. They did not, if it was not part of the plan from the beginning for Triple H and Daniel Bryan to fight at WrestleMania, it was clear in December that they were going to go with Punk versus Triple H. Number one. Number two, they did not bring back Dave Bautista to compete in a triple threat match. And this is where me and Rob Constantino get into a disagreement. It was not part of the plan for Daniel Bryan to become WWE champion.
Who says he is going to be champion?
I say he's going to be champion because there's no other finish that the fans will accept.
So you're saying he's going to win this match against Triple H?
Yes, he is defeating Triple H. There is no way in hell, after everything that he has gone through, that the WWE is just going to string the fans along and screw us and him over. It would make no sense. It would make no sense, and it would accomplish nothing.
I think if Daniel Bryan's not in the title match, it's going to be bad news.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, Frank. If Triple H defeats Daniel Bryan, there's going to be problems in that building because the fans are going to get hardcore. They're not going to give a shit. But I say Triple H will be defeated by Daniel Bryan, and he's going to go into the title match, no doubt. Next we have, because let's be honest, the fans have been wanting Daniel Bryan to succeed for a while, and what do you gain from pushing it even more? It's WrestleMania 30. Send your audience home happy for once. For once.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because since SummerSlam, and since Night of Champions, because the fans did go home happy that night because Daniel Bryan won the title, even though it was short-lived for a day. Since that night, the crowds have not gone home happy for a pay-per-view. Don't you think it's time? Because I think the crowd, they're tired of the screwed finishes. They're tired of the screw jobs. They're just tired of the same old faces being on top.
I say give Daniel Bryan a WrestleMania moment, make everybody happy, have the whole building cheering yes, and then see what happens the next night.
Hey, listen, I'll be the happiest kid in school if that happens. Next, we have The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman in his corner.
I think this match is going to be a brutal battle. It's going to be.
I agree, although the build-up has been subpar. Usually, Undertaker's build-up to a WrestleMania match is more intense, but this build-up with Brock Lesnar, I'm really not feeling. Taker has not suffered any damage going into this feud, and that worries me.
Well, I think that's what's going to happen. I think Brock Lesnar is really going to throw him around in the match, and that's how they're going to sell it.
You think Taker gets laid out on Monday night?
Quite possibly. But
I think he should. I think he should. The last 2 times he's laid out Lesnar, I think it's fair. Just like Monday night, I think Daniel Bryan should lay out Triple H after the beating he took 2 weeks ago. That was brutal. But
that was a heinous beating.
Absolutely, it was a heinous beating, and Triple H just proved what a coward he is. Character-wise, I'm talking about characters. The character Triple H is a coward because if Daniel Bryan is such a B+, why do you need him to be handcuffed to kick his ass? It's simple. He's better than all of them. He's the best guy they have right now. There's no question. The next match we have is Batista, who won the Royal Rumble, unfortunately, against Randy Orton versus either Triple H or Daniel Bryan. Now, I hear some people saying it's going to be a fatal 4-way. I don't buy that because they would promote the shit out of that.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to see somehow, some way, Daniel Bryan is going to get his gold.
I think that it's time because the fact is this, Frank, and me and you have had this discussion many times, but this is the point of no return for them. Steve Austin has said this plenty of times on his and JR's podcast. Yes, this has been a slow burn for Daniel Bryan since the Rumble. But you do not wait so long that by the time it happens, it's kind of
Yeah, anticlimactic.
Thank you. I would much rather have 80,000 people chanting yes than have 15,000 people in a regular pay-per-view chanting yes.
I'm predicting that maybe the Shield will have a hand in this.
Oh, I would love to see that. Imagine if the Shield actually protects Daniel Bryan and helps him, because don't forget, triple threat matches, there's no disqualification.
Right. And
anything goes.
Their brand of justice. And I think now that the Shield is our faces, I think now they're gonna do the right thing, and Daniel Bryan is gonna win the heavyweight championship.
Well, I think that the only way that the WWE gets out of WrestleMania 30 with their health intact is by giving the fans what they want. It's no longer a trend to be a fan of Daniel Bryan. If it was just a trend, it would have died out already. You know that trends in wrestling, they die out in a matter of months.
Do we see the Shield carrying Daniel Bryan in the ring with his belt? And the whole crowd.
I'll tell you something. I would love to see the entire locker room and the Hall of Famers come out and congratulate him, and have Triple H and Stephanie pulling their hair out of their heads on the stage.
Yeah, I think you might see that.
I think that because the announcers should get up and applaud after he wins. The announcers should get up and applaud him because Michael Cole sold it perfectly at the end of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, saying how many more times does Daniel Bryan have to get screwed? It's got to stop. Enough is enough. The crowd is emotionally invested in Daniel Bryan. That much is apparent. And JR has said it best. When you have the fans emotionally invested, you win.
Well, I think we'll tune into Sunday, and I think we're going to see it.
I hope to God that we do. I think that him and Triple H may steal the show because we know how good in the ring Triple H can be, but we also know how good Daniel Bryan is. The guy could wrestle anyone and have a great match. He reminds me in that sense of Bret Hart. But he also reminds me of Shawn Michaels in that he's charismatic and that he can control the crowd. I mean, that night in Rhode Island when he was in the cage with Bray Wyatt and he did the slow yes chant and he was controlling that crowd. He was like a fucking magician.
Oh yeah.
Not everyone could do that, Frank.
I know. But very few wrestlers have ever done that.
And I'll tell you something. If he does become the champion, which I believe he will, if he does become the champion and gets his redemption after all these months of all these screw jobs and all this bad booking, it will be worth it. But I've even had plenty of the guys on the page admit, if he doesn't win Sunday, they will admit WWE does not know what they're doing with him. And I would actually like to get you to admit that. That if he does not become the champion at WrestleMania, it is the perfect opportunity to wait any further, or to not do it at all, or to not do it at all would be foolish on their part. What are you gonna do? You're gonna have Batista close WrestleMania as the champion when everyone can't stand him. You're gonna have Randy Orton, who the crowd could give two shits less. He's just there. Randy Orton's not even connected with the crowd.
We're gonna see Daniel Bryan have his moment.
Well, I'll tell you something. If that does happen, it's going to go down as a great moment because you want to know what? I could very rarely recall a crowd, an audience, wanting something to happen so much.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a very interesting time to be a wrestling fan because there are so many people that are behind this guy. And I never thought we'd see someone get this popular. At first, when the yes thing started, it was a trend. It was just a chant. But after a while, it became more than that.
Yeah.
And
we're going to have to wrap this up because my phone's dying.
Not a problem, Frank. Mine's just about done as well.
Ladies and
Sunday. You'll be here Sunday?
I'll be there.
Absolutely. This is going to be great. In 6 days, we will have WrestleMania here. Maybe Frank and I could get maybe 10 minutes and shoot a video to the page before the show starts.
We'll do that.
And we will see everybody at WrestleMania. You guys have a good night and enjoy.